Hello, everyone. Today I'm using Elastic Melody. You see that the graphic is close to the one that we have in Elastic Drums and Elastic Effects. Well, it's because it's from the same people. Surprise. Elastic Melody is a 3-track sequencer that has a lot of flexibility in it, automation, all that stuff. Each of the tracks can trigger its own synthesizer, analog style if you want. It's just fun, and you'll understand right away why. The flexibility of this and the idea, trigger, impact of this is really cool. By the way, it can exist as a standalone, so just like having fun with it, or as a AUV3, which I haven't tried because I like the standalone. I like the creation of something right into that little app. Let's go in. So we have this main window. If you look at the top right here, you have the controls to switch between the different windows that you have in it. So you have the track window, you have the song window. The logic of the song window is easy. You create different patterns, and then when you want them, you drag them on the other side, and then you put them in the right order, and you add how many times you want them to play before switching to the next one. So very simple and quick to work. And if you want to create another pattern, just go duplicate. Let's say pattern 2. Okay, and you have a new pattern and you start working on it. So you can just switch between those really rapidly. So really well made, really easy to just, it's simple and it works. Go back to tracks. Tracks, you have this window, which is the track number 1 that I have here. You have the track number 2 here, track number 3 here. And if right now you see this one is on mute, so everything's turned off. So visually, you know if this one is not working. And there's a quick way to actually activate the mute. You actually there's a different way. Either you press on mute at the top, like this one here, you mute like this, or you double tap on the track itself. And it can be one that is not activated right now. I can double tap on this one. So as you play it, turn some volume up. So right now I'm playing just the 2, and I can double tap 1. You just turn it on, so you can use it like to go between just by double tapping on it. So there's a lot of things happening here, but before we go into that, I just want to still continue my tour and say, well, at the top you also have effects. So if you go into effects, you've got these 4 different effects: EQ, phaser, chorus, which is together, delay, and reverb. And you can turn them off and on by clicking on the name on top or clicking on the side on the box itself. Okay. So these are global effects. That's the only thing that I wish was different. It means that if you turn them on, all the 3 tracks will go into it. I would prefer to be able to have all of them activated. I mean, you don't need to have many reverb, but I might not want to have the reverb on all of the tracks. That's where I wish that in the track section, somewhere over here, I don't know where, I could have a button to activate either the amount of a send or the on-off switch to send to the reverb, the delay. So then I could put delay on track 2 and reverb on track 3, and I don't know, chorus on track 1, whatever. Still be able to do everything. So but that's a personal point. You have this really cool dice randomization section where you can randomize everything. Just like, give me something, and we'll create tracks, sequence, automation, and randomize the values of the synthesizer. So you can create like weird stuff that doesn't really work, or can create really like, oh, this is cool, I want to keep it because this is fun. But also what is interesting is you can say, I just want to randomize this track sound, like the one that I'm playing right now. I'm on 1, so it would randomize the track sound of the track number 1 only, or the track note. So you could have something on track number 1 and say, okay, I want to add stuff on track number 2, and you play with track note and just create different things. And same thing with all the effects, so you can just randomize the effects. Now, keep in mind that also when you randomize the notes, you're going to still be into, if you go into the settings, you're going to stay in a scale. So even if you randomize, you're still going to stay in the scale that you picked. So it would be okay. You know, it's not going to be just like weird, awkward stuff. It's going to be in the same scale and with using the same root key. That would be kind of the why it would be fun to use it. At the same time, here in this section, you have the manual. If you forget how this works, you click on manual, you go see the information, background audio, Ableton link if you want it. And the section we saw here being mute, you can change it to solo. So instead of muting, if you prefer working with solo mode, and it's still going to work with the double tap to be able to change these or activate these. So solo or mute, depending on what you want to do. I prefer mute, but that's a personal taste. Here we go. What else here? You have information. If you don't know what this is, you go click on it, click on it, click on it. It tells you what these are for. So it's easy to understand what they're doing. And if you turn it off, click, it's gone. So it's a very in context information, which is really cool. And preset, of course, is where you navigate all the presets. And of course, there's a bunch of them that I made. I might not have the same that you have in the app, because I made more than the one I actually submitted, because I don't, not all of them are good. And you have an undo. So if you did mess up something, you want to go back, you get the undo. So let's actually now go back into how this works track per track. So the first track you have, same thing for every track in a way. You have the oscillator section, you have the waveform. So basically, this is right now I'm in automation mode. Let's go back to note mode, and I'm going to mute the other. So you have this one. So this one, if I play it, so this is what it's playing. So you have the waveform. Now let's open the low pass maximum. So different waveforms, like a pulse wave to a sawtooth to a triangular wave. And what you have on top here is the range. As you change this, you're changing the section of notes, the range of notes that these will trigger. So it becomes very low in frequency or higher in pitch, like changing a little bit if you want the range, but also the kind of root key. How do they explain what this is? The VCO range. Not that much information, but yeah. So if you want to hear the full movement of the notes, you would put it to the maximum. But it means you could easily take a track from a place, a track that you have, and copy it to a second track, and then just change the range, and it could become kind of a bass because you're using the same note, the same place, but with a limited range. So that could be kind of how you would use it if you want to. Then on top of that, you've got the filter just after that, the low pass filter here. The low pass is linked to the resonance. The high pass doesn't seem to be. And the modulation seems to only control the low pass, which is okay. It's like a lot of other simple synthesizer out there. So you have this low pass resonance, which can really become squealy. You have the mod attack. So this is modulation, envelope modulation for the filter. So this is just basically the attack. You want it to be, or you don't want to have it. The attack and decay are here, but it's kind of weird because you want to have some modulation, so slower attack for this one. You want to have modulation for the decay, and this is how much modulation you want. And in this case, you see it moving because I did automate this. Did I just recorded it? I think I did. So this is the other thing. You can modulate anything here just by clicking on automate and clicking on the the button you want, and you just can just okay, draw it. You would do the automation. So it's really quick and easy. Then yeah, the length is the length of the envelope. You want the note to be longer. I want them to be shorter. If you get rid of the release, it's going to be obvious. Okay, and then if you add the release to it, same thing with the attack. Okay. And the last one is pan, so pan left and right. And also VCO level and noise level. So VCO level is the VCO we just have on the first one here. And the noise is another oscillator that generates noise that is sent to the same low pass. So if you want to do just noisy stuff, you can just take out the VCO and have like this to use for a snare, for example. And if you want to combine them, you just like can combine these two together, so you have some noisy stuff happening. So that's the logic between, you know, when you create the sound, and you can do a lot with very little, you know, very little things here. You can do a lot of things, and that's what is cool. I mean, it's all stuff that we know about. There's no surprise on how it works, outside of the fact that the way the mod filter works, it's kind of awkward the first time you go, okay, but these are separate modulation for the attack and decay, which basically it's envelope modulation. And so it's kind of the first time you go, is it working the way I'm thinking? It was kind of awkward for me. So now you also have in the steps, it's easy. You just type in, you click on the step you want, and you see there's only notes, you know, from C. All the notes are there, C, D, E, F, and all that stuff. You just click on it, and as you're holding it, you move up or down, and you're changing the octave it's going to be on. So it takes less space. This is brilliant, by the way. It takes a lot less space. You don't have to zoom down or zoom up. You can just right here, you see the melody, but you can decide that this one's going to be on D2, this is going to be on C4. So it changes. That's it. It's just. Then you have, with the sequence, you have the length. So you can, this is the length of each of the notes. So the basically step length. And this is where it becomes really interesting, because you could have your 3 different tracks playing a different length of note and different length of steps. You know, right now we've got 16, but I could say I want to have, I'm going to step, I can go up to here, but I could step here. So now it's 11. And from when I play the other one, so it's 16. Kind of difficult. And then you can create these weird, these different patterns. So let's say you have one on 16, the other one on 13, and then it's going to glide gradually into something else. So the choice of the notes is going to be important, so it becomes still something that is musically pleasing, if that's what you want. And you can have this evolve and evolve and evolve, because it's just always moving, because they don't recycle the cycle of the track at the same moment, which makes into that interesting. Beats. I'm just going to reload that preset. No, I don't want to save that. This one. And so this one is, oh, that's another one. Okay, let's listen to this one. So that's another thing. there's no drum in this, but there's everything you need here to create one. So that's my bass line, or my synth line if you want. This one, you see that the key itself doesn't really matter, because all you hear is the resonance playing the modulation decay. That's what you hear. And then I've got the other one. So this one is VCO 0, noise level maximum, and I'm playing with the length to have that. If you go automation, you see that this is where the snare becomes more of a snare, and when it happens, it changes also the low pass. It opens the filter, and the resonance goes down on the snare, and it goes back up for the hi-hats and other sounds. So if I turn the other one on, and all of that happening at the same time. So then I'm using it as a standard, drum bass type of sequencer. See, this one is 10 long, 10 step long. This one is 12. So at one point it's just gonna recycle at different speed. This one is 8 long. And this is a lot slower. Maybe I can open this one a little bit. It changes all the time. See, this one runs at 7 steps. This one runs at 16 steps. This one is also 16. So it changes gradually a little bit. Let's go this one here. So this one, the hi-hats. This is the snare, but you see this is a lot softer, or slower. This is a lot slower because it does the snare. And this one is faster, 1/8 of a note. And altogether you have that. And because this is on 15, the hi-hat is always changing where it is in position. So just another way to kind of animate stuff. Okay, this one. This was interesting. So you get this kind of line playing here. This one here, which is the snare. I can take this one off. And this is the kick. And see, this is one 16th of a note. This one is quarter note. This one is a quarter note also. But I think there's a song mode. No, there's not in this one. There's no song mode. Again, this is how I build my 3 tracks playing, and I can just like evolve, copy that, and just bring more stuff. I have another one here. So this is the evolution of that one. You have the same kind of, and I have a song mode. Okay, you go. Okay, let's go back to this. So the song, I'm in pattern number. You see, there's song mode here. I'm still moving between patterns. If I stop song mode, go back to track. I want to work on this one here. Track 0 is the first one, where I have this and this. So I've got to have like my kind of pad, wom wom, and I have the lead playing. I've got pattern. I've got drums on this one. On this one here. So the track 2 changes from pad to snare between patterns, and then here it's too much. That's better. And last one is the kick. And if I go to the last one, pattern 2, then I still have this one as playing the lead. This one now is also playing an instrument. You see? So I repurposed the third one just to be the snare and a hi-hat. Kick and snare. And then when you keep in song mode, now it's gonna go from this one, play twice, then go into so you can just build like that. And again, I could just go in here and do duplicate pattern 3, okay, and move on and build and build and build. So it's actually, if you look at it as a song mode, it goes way more than having 3 tracks. You're limited to 3 tracks at one moment in time, but as you switch between patterns, they can all change to something else. So it equals to a lot more than just 3 tracks. So I like to push these little, I don't say little apps because it's really powerful. They have these limits that push you to be creative. And unlike this, the fact that you only have three tracks, but you can make it feel like after the whole song is made, it can feel like you've got, 10 tracks, because every time you need it, the patterns uses the tracks differently and optimizing it to what it is. That's really a fun thing to play with. Fun start. Well, that's a fun one also. That's why I call it fun start. So this one, fun start. See, you've got these. If you double tap these, so this one is playing, and it uses 6, and it's a quarter note. This one, it uses a quarter note, but this is kick snare, kick snare. That's it. And this one is the first one. Kind of the hyperactive lead, bass, whatever you want to call it, synth. And you have also the pan moving. So it gives you effects. And you see that I don't use a lot of effects because I don't like to have effects on everything. So I create movement by adding, by playing with the pan. But I wish I had on this one, let's say, some delay, and on this one, some reverb, whatever it is, for me would be more useful. But now, in this one, I don't have a song mode used yet. But if I look at the second one, I started from that, I added the effects, and I started to build the patterns. So if we go back to the first track, let's get out of song mode, into tracks, and I'm going to go into the first 0. Okay. We got everything working. Let's go back here. See? There's nothing on this. Is there? So this is very slow for this one. Okay, let's switch to change it a little bit of, and then you just have the hi-hat. You have this. That's the hi-hat. This is the other notes playing. See this whole note now. So that's why this one is very slow because of that. So it fits. And then you go to this one. So this one is now the kick and snare. This one is playing faster. Actually, no. It's the ways interact with this one. Because now I changed the pitch here, and that pitch is answering to the other track. I feel as it's changing. But this one is always very fast. The other one is just adding notes, so it changes kind of the melody when we combine the two together. And if we go to this one, so again, it's how you build stuff. And in this case, I use the effects. And what's interesting about the effects, you can actually automate some of it. Whereas, is there a track? Let's say I want to automate this thing. Okay, I can actually take chorus and go. That's it. It's easy to add movement into all of this. This one is, I think it's one of the best examples to show how this one works on a quarter note. So this whole section here is a 4/4 beat. If you look at this one is faster. So the last note that is basically played here comes from this one. So that's how you build this. I think it's actually pretty cool. And then the last one I just added some movement. Now I'm missing a kick and snare now. That's it. I hope this is actually giving you ideas how to use it. I really find this inspiring and fun to play with. I like this flexibility that you have in this. Even if sometimes go, I wish I had this. It forces me to rethink about how can I turn around and move it in different ways. And it opens up to, there's a lot of things you can do with this. It's just super flexible. And, you know, the secret weapon in this section here basically is just really fun to play with. And I haven't even tried with you the randomizing section, which can also create very cool accident. That's it. Stay safe, make more music, and see you soon. Cheers.